So the today my topic presentation is correlation of PC4 ULF wave with KP values and their dependence with interplanetary magnetic field. First of all, the plan of my presentation. First of all, introduction, data analysis and results, and finally discussion and conclusion. Introduction, continuous pulsation, naturally occurring ultra-low frequency MHD waves are quasi-sinusoidal variations lying between 1 to 1000 millihertz in the Earth's magnetic field known as geomagnetic pulsation, which is shown in table. This is the classification of microprocessor PC1, PC2, PC3, PC4, PC5 according to their time period range and frequency range. Now, what is the PC4 ULF wave? It is a continuous pulsation which is lying in the range 7 to 22 millihertz, which are termed as PC4 pulsation. ULF waves are generated when physical system experiences disturbance. ULF waves are generated by the interconnection of mechanical stasis waves that happen in plasma. The research on these ultra-low frequency waves recorded near to the Earth has attracted significant attention since last century and electromagnetic interaction. ULF waves, it is a continuous pulsation which is lying in the range 7 to 22 millihertz, which are termed as PC4 pulsation. ULF waves are generated when physical system experience disturbance. ULF waves are generated by the interconnection of mechanical stasis waves that happen in plasma. The research on these ultra-low frequency ULF waves recorded near to the Earth has attracted significant attention since last century and electromagnetic interactions. The magnetohydrodynamic geomagnetic oscillations in the 7 to 100 millihertz frequency range, termed as PC3, PC4, are mostly observed in daytime and predicted to have connection with the waves emitted by reflection of ions back to the Gaussian, which causes the wave excitation at the boundary of magnetoscope. Most of the daytime pulsation activity in the PC34 range 7 to 100 millihertz is thought to be related to the waves generated upstream of the shock by energetic ions reflecting of the shock of and creating conditions for the wave generation. The dependence of occurrence and some other properties of PC34 geomagnetic microprocessor on solar wind condition and also on magnitude and direction of interplanetary magnetic field have been reported by several others. Day-to-day variation of event and frequency of PC4 ULF waves noted at Earth station and their dependence on latitude and magnetic indices KP and also essential recognition their origin and generation modes. In this paper, express day-to-day seasonal variation and PC4 wave occurring with the KP values at equatorial latitude and their dependence with interplanetary magnetic field. The investigation of this paper is based on the data analysis and results. The investigation of this paper is based on the digitized 1-second sampling geometry data on the latitudinal area of 3 Indian stations, Pondicherry, Nagpur, Helle. Geometric data of X north, Y east, west, and Z vertical components of Earth's magnetic field for the duration of study 1 January 2005 to 31 December 2005 were recorded using 3-axis flux gate magnetometer area at the station Haile, Nagpur, Pondicherry with 1-second sampling interval. The station was situated at very low latitude in India. The magnetic area was established in and operated by Indian Institute of Geomagnetism, Mumbai. The coordinate details of these stations are shown in table 2. Time will always represented in UT and that SIT UT plus 530 hours. Interplanetary magnetic field magnitude information was taken from website of NASA. Next. The recorded time series of magnetic intensity with 1-second interim period were filtered using a zero phase shift 6-order Butterworth type bandpass filter and limits of the frequency range 40 to 5 to 40 millihertz. Figure 1 shows the filter time series of procession for Helle measurement shown station on January 28, 2005. Firstly, the dynamic aspect of full day were well prepared by which we recognize the sudden pulsation events. Next. Figure 2 shows the dynamic spectra. This so clearly events approx 22 to 14 hour time interval. The occurrence relation of this pulsation on interplanetary magnetic field magnitude was analyzed with found hourly occurrence duration and information of interplanetary magnetic field magnitude for every month individually. The result of 2 months, January and May, with plot for whole year is presented in this paper. Next. This is the figure shows day-to-day variation in frequency of PC4 occurrence at all three stations, Henley and Nagpur, Pondicherry. Mostly the event shows from over range the KP of values 0 plus to 6 negative and so on, and no variation shows KP less than 6. Finally, the range of average frequency at all the three stations gradually decreases over 1 to 8 KP range. The higher frequency at all the three stations gradually decreases over the range of KP values, and low frequency cutoff PC4 activity gradually increases with KP. Next. This figure also shows the seasonal variation of PC4 occurrence at all the three stations, Henley and Nagpur and Pondicherry. Same pattern occurs all the three stations behind, and the most intense value of magnetic field approx 1 plus 2, 5 plus KP values. Next. This figure shows the interplanetary magnitude occurrence event duration for station of Nagpur, Henley and Pondicherry. In this figure, this clearly shows the generation and propagation mechanism of ultra-low frequency wave with parameters of solar wind and interplanetary magnetic field conditions have good extent. In this paper, the dependence of excitation of PC4 geomagnetic pulsation on the strength of interplanetary magnetic field observed at equatorial latitudes in India is reported. In the whole year, the dependence found at all above stations, Henley, Nagpur, and Pondicherry, for two individual months, January and November 2005, are shown in this. This figure also shows the interplanetary magnetic field occurrence duration, the station, Nagpur, and Pondicherry. Discussion and conclusion. The graph for the each month, February to December 2005, so varying shapes with frequency for every month with imminent PC4 maximum. The monthly variation of PC4 frequency occurrence with KP index for each and every stations, Nagpur, Henley, Pondicherry, for each month of February to December 2005 are depicted in this paper. The range of average frequency at all the three stations lied in between 9 to 14 millihertz, giving average approx 11.5 to 11.5 millihertz. The higher frequency range was 11 to 22 millihertz, while the lower frequency range was allowing 7 to 8 millihertz. Most of the peak in PC4 occurrence with KP were found over the KP values 0 plus 5, and so no variation less than 5 KP values. This concur with the precursory studies of Volker and so. It is also worth noting that PC4 is winter observed during intense activity when KP values lie in between 5 plus to 8 plus. In the view of aforementioned discussion, excitation mechanism and as well as the result of Darnall and Dulles cycle deviation of low latitude PC4 process. The observation presented in the study were also concurrent with the characteristic of ULF steam wave flame A by healing at A. Next. Many authors are also reported correlation of IMF magnitude with PC3-4 pulsation recorded at ground. The strength of IMF is very important factor that governs the frequency of these ULF waves. Although cone angle may have effect in frequency determination as reported by Lee and Russell, measuring the monthly occurrence ULF waves, their seasonal variation is useful for the quantifying their proliferation and generation mechanism. having the result of the different analysis of diurnal variation in the event of PC4 magnetic pulsation for the whole year 2005, recorded at 3 stations located at very latitude in India. Most of the findings of PC4 experiments in our investigation lying in between 3 to 5 kp values. Various PC4 experiments in local daytime were also observed in the study of the present investigation. Findings of the investigation are in accordance with previous suggested by Takashi et al. They reported the pulsation observed in night side initiated in day side. ULF depth are also obtained in night side at magnetosphere because these are the non-appearance of substorm concepts intensification. The same results were also presented by Valenti et al. Next. In this investigation, the main necklace peak in winter and equinoxes remain the same with time. The station area was spread over the latitudinal range of 21 only. Consequently, it was insufficient for observation of latitude dependence of PC4 pulsation occurs if the data from large scale latitudinal separation is necessary for the investigation. Next. Next. I think this is the element. And thanks.